Good morning, Matt Waldman. Week 5's in the books. How you feeling today, sir?
Pretty good, though. I got to say, my trading away Stefon Diggs doesn't feel so good today. I will say
Oh,
that, but I'd say Stefon Diggs for a second round pick in a dynasty league. That's not too bad. It
nah.
could have been better maybe, but not at that time. So it'll be all right.
I'm feeling about my heavy investment, and I drafted Diggs religiously this year. I'm feeling about the same about that as Diggs feels about that game last night. Quickly before we dive in, he's Matt Waldman. I'm Bob Harris. This is the Feel It or Fuck It
They
podcast. We will be
know who
feeling and
we
fucking things.
are.
They don't know who we are.
Okay,
Nobody knows me anyway. They know you. Everyone knows you, Matt
they know.
Waldman, the
No,
great.
that's they know you.
All our work at footballguys.com. Also find him at mattwaldman.com, where the rookie scouting portfolio lives, and all the associated content which comes into your inbox if you subscribe and purchase all of them. And I highly recommend all of that. You can also hear me on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Tonight, you can hear Matt Waldman there as well, Monday night. If you're listening after Monday, you lost out unless you have on demand. Man, technology rules, Matt. Stefon Diggs also rules. Stefon Diggs is back. Feel it or fuck it.
I'm feeling it. He looks good. I mean the quick transitions, the knee doesn't seem to be a problem at all. Is he fully back to like being the massive, elite option that he was? No, but he may not be winning one-on-one routes, but on timing routes that you would separate the elite from the good. But he's still good, if not very good. He's doing very good in zone coverage. He had some really nice reroutes in this game to work with Drake May, and he made some tough catches and did some good work after the catch. And really, that's all you're looking for out of him at this stage. I mean, for where you could have gotten him, and where Bob Harris got him. You're getting
Yeah.
wide receiver 2 value with wide receiver 1 upside, or at least no worse than wide receiver 3 value.
Yeah, I feel all that. That's what I felt when I drafted him. I was hoping it would start sooner, but I'm not surprised that it took a little time to ramp up coming off the ACL that happened last October. So he's almost a year fully removed from that. But we heard great reports from throughout the offseason, and interesting how that receiving core is shaping up and how good Drake May is looking. And we'll be feeling more of that going forward. Dalton Kincaid on the other side of the ball will remain coming off his first 100-yard game of his career. He'll remain a top 5 tight end this year, Matt. Feel it or fuck it.
I'm starting to feel it. I think mainly it's because when you look at that, they're throwing the ball downfield to him. It's not the go up and get it balls that I thought that he was going to get with Josh Allen when he came out of Utah. But it is over the middle. He's rerouting, and he's on the same page with Josh Allen. They're using him a lot more over the middle in the intermediate range of the field, where they use primary options. Where most teams do that. He's not the shallow dump it off to the flat guy anymore. There's a lot more of the corner routes and more of the deep overs, and also routes where he and Allen are on the same page, where the first break isn't open and he immediately slides to the next window and Allen finds him. I saw that 3 times this weekend or last night. And, it looks like they really have developed a more advanced connection, and that Joe Brady is finally saying, you know what, maybe it's best that we don't give him the ball in the flat and make him be a running back when we've got a guy who's a good route runner and pass catcher downfield.
Yeah, 20 catches, 287 yards, 3 touchdowns through 5 games. The 287 receiving yards, second among all NFL tight ends, trailing only Ty Warren in Indianapolis. The touchdowns are tied for third of the position, trailing only the great A.J. Barner in Seattle and Philadelphia's Dallas Goedert, both have 4. We all saw A.J. Barner coming. I like his touchdown move, though. That's good stuff. And I'm with you. I think that I think he's emerging as a legitimate threat in this offense, or at least one that'll maybe be a little more consistent. I think that's really all we needed from him. It's been hit and miss. So one last note from that game: TreVeyon Henderson, Patriots running back, will emerge this year. Feel it or fuck it.
No, fuck it. He ain't doing it. It ain't happening. I mean, I think even if he was as good as people believed he was this year, there'd be no way Ramondre Stevenson would be allowed back
Correct.
on the field with all the fumbles he's had in the past 2 years. And Ramondre's still a better running back. It's just that TreVeyon isn't bad, but as a college player and as a pro, I mean, he can give you a little bit in terms of he can give you a lot of speed out in space, and I think he'll develop into a decent player. But he doesn't really fit what this offense is trying to do for its primary back, and he's still got work to do as a pass blocker and an inside runner. And so at this stage of the game, I doubt it unless their depth chart is just wiped clean with injuries.
Yeah, Antonio Gibson hurt last night, but he was the guy who started getting more work after the fumble. And then when he got hurt, it was back to Stevenson and not to Henderson. So I feel like the draft capital that's invested in him, it's going to be hard to get the return. I'm pretty sure that's the case, whether he can, break out at some point this season and have great games. I'm sure that will be the case. I'm sure he'll have great performances. Or I hope he has great performances, but they won't be enough to carry the draft.
I'm starting to think he's a roster clogger.
Yeah, he's no Quinshon Judkins, that's for sure, right? He's never going to have that primary role. Marvin Harrison Jr. Is working on his attack off the ball. Feel it or fuck it.
Yeah, or of the ball, I think. That's my problem. Yeah, his attack is he had a couple of plays yesterday where he showed better attack. And I think that that shows me that he's trying to be more conscientious about using the proper attack. He was still reverting to some plays. There's some plays where he reverted to the same old habits, bad habits that he's shown. But the one that was the near touchdown, I mean, he actually attacked that ball well, but he tipped it due to contact and then tried to trap it to himself, and he ended up being successful. But that's what happens when you form good habits like that, even when it doesn't work out initially, you end up creating easier opportunities or easier second chances. So I think that Marvin Harrison is working on it. I don't think it's going to be perfected this year, but I think we're seeing a guy who's taken the past year and a half seriously. Yeah, Hugo's drying off from the rain too. So
let me take this a step further. Feel this or fuck it. Marvin Harrison's full potential will not be tapped until and unless the Cardinals decide it's time to move on from Kyler Murray. Something that's being discussed this morning widely is just like, hey, is it Jonathan Gannon or is it Kyler Murray? The decision will have to be made. What do you think about that?
I agree. But I've made Kyler Murray kind of my personal punching bag of his play probably for the past 2-3 years. So we were just a little bit early on that end of the spectrum with this. And I think that I don't think Harrison is a complete receiver, but I do think that he can give you what T. Higgins gives Joe Burrow. And if you give him a quarterback who's capable of finding him in a variety of ways and really opening up this offense to create easier opportunities for Harrison, we could see more upside for him in store.
Yeah, we'll see what that future holds for Mr. Kyler Murray in Arizona. Michael Carter, what's the short-term future hold for him, Matt? Is he back to have an Arizona field or fuck it?
I'm feeling it. Even though Amari DiMarcado was literally millimeters away from outscoring Michael Carter on the day, it was Carter who had the most touches, and he was really the primary back. He's a good receiver. He's probably the better receiver of the two. I also think that he's a more creative runner. I was wondering at the end of the week whether or not DiMarcado would be the guy because they had Carter as the third, as kind of inactive for early games because DiMarcado was the special teamer. But I thought maybe they were just giving him first-team reps to get him acclimated fast to the timing of the offense, since it's been a while since he's played on offense in a real game since last year. So maybe they thought that was a way of accelerating it. But it looks to me like Carter's the lead back. DiMarcado has a role. And while maybe they can use a hot hand approach on occasion, I would bank on Carter first. I wouldn't worry about I mean, I wouldn't think that DeMarcado will be left out in the cold, though. I think that he'll still have enough touches that if you need a desperation flex, he's there. And if you really need a deep desperation, like, oh, shit, somebody got hurt and nobody's on my waiver wire that I know of, Bam Knight might even be worthwhile for a few touches.
Fall in the end zone. He was the clear backup on the early downs. He got a little work in the 2-minute drill as well, according to Nathan Yonke over Pro Football Focus. I think this should have been the expected. I mean, we thought it was heading this way during the week when Carter got the first reps of practice and kind of let the cat out of the bag that he was a starter. But we also saw this at the end of last year. Of course, DeMarcado was out, but so were Benson and James Conner then, and they trusted Carter with a full workload, and it feels like some of the, the fact that he remained on the practice squad may have had more to do with like Bam Knight being more of a special teams player and the number of backs on the roster. So we shouldn't have let that thrown us. Okay. Cam Ward was fundamentally better this week. Feel it or fuck it.
I'm feeling it. They actually, whatever plays they call, he actually had a drop plan with those plays more often. Yeah, he did. I got an argument out of that one. But that, he's training sound effects for like those old, like Seabiscuit with the horse racing with all the he's training for that. I don't know where he's going to get it, but he's trying to do it here. I want
to eat that toy so he makes that noise constantly.
See, there you go. He's probably getting started, so we'll find out. But yeah, I mean, I think that with Ward, he made good throws because he had better drops and he was in rhythm with a lot of the plays that were going on that they called this week. So there wasn't as much of a guessing game with him, and he had some plays where he wasn't constantly under pressure. So that helped too. So I was pleased to see that because last week was awful. Last week looked like they were trying to ruin this kid, and I still have some concerns about how they're developing him and what they're using with this offense, but this was a much better look. This game was much better for him.
Yeah, I thought I'll go with that. I mean, I didn't think any of it was great for anybody except Calvin Ridley, by the way, who I thought Mike Clay made a nice note. The rough start of the season may have had as much to do with Pat Surtain, Chargerius Ward, and Derek Stingley Jr. as it did Ridley. So we'll see. I mean, it was a very promising game. He looked good against coverage that wasn't as tough. So, and hopefully he and Cam Ward can both pick up the pace. But this offense still not good, not fantasy friendly. So don't be digging too deep there, people. Jaxson Dart, the great Giants starter, the rookie that we all love so much. His accuracy beyond 25 yards was a problem, Matt. Feel it or fuck it.
Yeah, I'm feeling that still. I watched, I think there were 8 or 9 plays that he had between that over 25 yards. Maybe they were more like 6 to 7 plays over 25 yards, and he didn't hit a single one. That was that. I think he hit one actually, and it was a back shoulder, and it was decently placed. The rest were not well placed, even if they should have been caught. He created harder work for his players. He had one that was a flea flicker that he should have been able to lead Darius Slayton for a easy touchdown, or at least if he was going to throw it behind him, do it in a way that it wasn't in with at the angle of the trailing coverage. He had a couple of throws that were nice that were between 20 and under 25 yards, but like I've said, when I've charted him, anything under 25 yards looks pretty darn good. Everything over 25 yards looks pretty darn bad, and I thought that was the case with him this week, including one of the interceptions that he threw that was this more of a hero ball off platform throw that was just, it couldn't layer it over Kool-Aid McKinstry or whatever that dude's name is. Yeah.
That's his name.
Yeah, there we go.
That's his actual name.
Kyle Kool-Aid McKinstry. No, that wasn't it. Okay. Kyle Brandt? No. Okay. Yeah.
I see Kyle Brandt off in the distance. He's looking back at you right now. So
I'm getting ready to do an angry run.
I thought, Jaxson Dart finished yesterday. The day going into Sunday night, he was quarterback 12 on the day. He put up nearly quarterback 1 numbers. That's all I care about, right? Like all the rest of it. Like I wish there were fewer turnovers. 5 turnovers in that game. He was, the interception, fumbles were a big issue. He would have extended more drives. We probably would have had some better outcomes fantasy-wise as well. The rushing equity is always going to be there, but you're right. I don't care if he's accurate, though. He's going to be throwing shorter passes. All of them to my tight end, my 20th round tight end, Theo Johnson, and I'm very happy about that.
And I think that's a good point. The only thing that I would counter with that is that I talk about these things because I'm concerned about sustainability. Because you'd hate to be in love with this guy for 6 weeks and not know when to dump him when defenses adjust, and you're like, oh, how did he turn into Will Levis?
Oh, stop that now. That's uncalled for. Nobody deserves that kind of treatment, sir. Woody Marks is overtaking Nick Chubb this year in the Houston backfield. Feel it or fuck it?
Fuck it. I keep saying it, and I keep watching games, and I keep watching Nick Chubb make nice runs, especially this week against the Ravens defense. He looked really good. I know
we all look good against the Ravens.
Yeah, but I will say this. Here's the difference, because that's a good point. People will say, yeah, the Ravens defense sucked. They're full of injuries, and anybody could run on that. Well, Woody Marks didn't run on it as well as Nick Chubb, and the runs that he had that were good, he had convoys where he went untouched, and he didn't have to do anything but go on a straight fucking line. Whereas Nick Chubb was making cutbacks and stiff arming the biggest men on literally the biggest man on the field, probably the biggest man in the stadium, unless, Andre the Giant's daughter was there or something. I don't know. But literally he looked like the Nick Chubb of old minus the burst. And even then he beat two safeties on a 27-yard touchdown run where they misjudged the angle and he flew right past them. So I wouldn't say this is going to be a split. It's going to stay a split.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I had this conversation with the great listeners on SiriusXM Fantasy and Jeff Mann's in the pregame show. And the question I asked them, because everyone, Woody Marks, the enthusiasm was there, and it was a great, week 4 for him. But I kept asking, Nick Chubb didn't go anywhere. This is going to be a split. There are going to be weeks where we get Woody Marks, and he's still more of a receiving down guy. He'll get more work. But I think expecting him to come over and take over a full workload like we saw, Michael Carter, that kind of workload, or Rashad White, which we should have expected from the guy who was running back 4 on the season 2 years ago, or Rico Dowdle, who was a 1,000-yard rusher last year and steps in for an injured player. I think that's the expectations, and we shouldn't have had those same expectations for Woody Marks. But still a playable asset, yes. In a timeshare, still yes. Feeling all of that. All right.
You can't get rid of timeshares without a good lawyer. Yeah,
that's what I'm told.
Yeah,
or the guy on the 800.
I really don't want to compare. Let's not compare Nick Chubb to a timeshare, though. That's not a good idea.
Xavier Hutchinson, who I had to play in a league yesterday. Imagine my surprise. Will emerge as a weekly fantasy play.
Look, I have 2 teams with Xavier Hutchinson still on them, and I didn't start him in either.
You're why I have him on that team, by the way, just to be fair.
But no, I don't think it's going to happen. He had a really nice fade route where he had a nice release, and then there was, but unless he's going to become a common red zone option, and there's a chance where they may look at this and go, we feel like we have something here in terms of timing and route running to be really good in compressed space, because he's such a good pass catcher and he can take contact and he's quicker than fast. That might be the ideal place for him. But again, we weren't counting on Nick Akine Westbrook numbers, like last year when you kept asking me about that fucker, or 2 years ago, whenever he was scoring at will. It was last year. I don't think Hutchinson's going to turn into that. But it's still worth keeping an eye out on it for a week or two and see if we see a trend.
Once he's on my Dynasty team, he's there for life. I never let anybody go. Isaac TeSlaa will emerge as a weekly fantasy play. Feel or fuck it?
Fuck it. Not this year. Next year, sure.
Had to start him in the league last week.
Look at you. Wow. So, yeah, and it sounds like you did all right. So
I came out okay this week. I had some really fortuitous performances this week. I'm not gonna lie.
Look at you. No, I mean TeSlaa was, he made a nice catch and he got open on a route over the middle for a touchdown. But he's kind of a garbage time play right now, that they can take. And he's going to get occasional work, but it's kind of unpredictable at this stage.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's like unless you were forced into a corner by 4 buys and multiple injuries, this is not a play you can make any given week. You'll never know. Jamar Chase, on the other hand, you do know he will have good games. Jake Browning, notwithstanding, is he still the best wide receiver in the NFL?
I think so. And if you want to argue Justin Jefferson, I'm not gonna debate you majorly on that one. I mean, both those guys I think are 1-2 or 1-1, if you want to look at it from that perspective. I like Chase a little bit better, as much of a fan of Jefferson as I was. I just think Chase does a little bit more after the catch than Jefferson does. And he's an equally good route runner. But yeah, I mean, he's, he took over that game for a little bit and made it close.
Well, he did. He dominated. And I'm not here to argue your points, but I am here, sir, to defend Puka Nacua against the slander I just heard with his omission from this conversation. Fuck that. Puka Nacua has a good argument against Chase. Feel it or fuck it.
Statistically, and where it only counts for Bob Harris, then feel it. Absolutely feel it. As far as, again, as far as a player, as long as he's in Sean McVay's offense, or an offense that uses him like Sean McVay, he is one of the top 3 to 5 receivers in fantasy football and will remain that way. Now, if we get a new coach somewhere down the line, say Sean McVay bursts a blood vessel with those crazy looks that he has on draft day,
close to retirement once. I mean,
whatever's going on with him. If he splits and they decide to run a very different offense where they need to rely on Puka Nacua to be a complete route runner, you can forget that. Most of the work that he does is in zone, and zone coverage is very important, and he's very good at that. He's reliable after the catch. They use him as an extension of the run game a good bit. So when I hear people say he's gotten better as a route runner, I would say maybe you can come up with some isolated examples, but the way that he's used, he's not in the same class as a receiver in terms of skills and concepts as Chase and Devontae Adams. The numbers are great. Devontae Adams is helping Nacua more than Nacua is helping Devontae Adams right now.
I agree with that. They're all a work in progress, all dependent on the great Matthew Stafford. He is the reason, Matt Stafford, that the Rams are competitive. Feel it or fuck it.
Oh, absolutely feeling that. I just don't. I think Jimmy Garoppolo can be about 75% of that, and have some occasional really good throws. But what Stafford can do as a manipulator of secondaries downfield, the way he can avoid pressure, reset, and fire, and the throws that he makes, he is Patrick Mahomes 1.0, or, he was the precursor to Patrick Mahomes. And you can see a lot of that even at a venerable age with him. That throw to Tutu Atwell, where he makes this tight spin to his left and resets quickly and fires it to his right to Atwell. He knew all along. There are so many quarterbacks who would have widened that spin, taken too much time, and would not have been able to reach that receiver. And there were more throws like that in that game that were just really impressive. I think he's the reason that they stay competitive. And certainly, they've got a lot of good players, don't get me wrong, but he is the figurehead, and he's at that helm and drives that bus.
Feel that. And he makes a lot of things, like you said, that are difficult look way easier than they are. And that's probably why people don't, view him the way they see something and go, wow, that looked easy. Right? It did. Yeah. And it totally wasn't. So I'm with you there. George Pickens will remain reliable while CeeDee Lamb is out. Feel it or fuck it.
I'm feeling it because I got to target somebody. And, Ryan Flournoy, they did a pretty good job targeting him. Tolbert's kind of been off and on. Kevontae Turpin was out.
He was.
So, I would say that, the most productive player in this offense is easily going to be Pickens, even though he had 2 push-offs on one play and didn't get called for it for the touchdown that he caught against Sauce Gardner. But who cares? A little hand
Sauce
fighting.
Gardner doesn't drag people down to the ground every time he gets beat.
No. So So, but
What's good for the goose?
That's right. So, I mean, look, Pickens, I mean, he had a nice slant that he caught. He made some good plays, and I think that as long as Lamb is out, they're going to keep rolling to him, hell or high water. And I think the best player on that offense right now, other than Dak Prescott, might be their fullback, Hunter Luepke. That dude was really leading that run game, and considering that they didn't have a single offensive lineman who was healthy yesterday.
That's a fair point. Also, though, you're leaving out the great Jake Ferguson, who is turning out to be quite the impressive piece of this offense and consistently productive.
Does he have a skeleton in a late night show?
He might.
Okay, I don't know. All right.
He's a different guy.
All right.
He's a different guy.
He's
He's not as flirty as that guy. Okay. Rico Dowdle, the aforementioned, is better than Chuba Hubbard. Feel it or fuck it.
He might be. I might feel that, but he's not so much better that he's going to overtake the job and take away the job from Chuba Hubbard when Hubbard's healthy. Hubbard has even more speed than Dowdle. Some of those creases that Dowdle hit for 50-plus yards, Hubbard would have house called them. Hubbard is a tough inside runner. He has really improved his game. If you asked me in college who was the better runner, I would have said hands down Dowdle. But who's better in the pros? I'd say it's too close to call at this stage, and I would probably lean towards Hubbard just because he has a little bit more of that juice.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and feel that. I'll say Dowdle hit the right note here after the game for both him and Hubbard, because it's something I keep hearing, and he used a word I've heard around from people who cover the team and from Dave Canales. He said, they know I'm a violent runner. That is the key, right? I've heard that last year from Mike Kay from the Charlotte Observer when I was wondering if Hubbard was going to keep that job, and he said, man, he's the kind of runner Dave Canales likes. He's violent. And I've heard Dave Canales use that word, and now I hear it carried over here. So I think these guys, if nothing else, they know what the job requirement is, and they're there to execute it. So we'll see. I'm with you. I think we'll see both of them. Clearly Dowdle's earned more work going forward, and he had been starting to get it. He's averaging 10 touches a game before that, so it'll maybe be more even split, and hopefully they can both be productive.
He's a more creative runner, if you ask me, than Hubbard, like in creative runner between the tackles and in traffic. But Hubbard's gotten pretty smart about how to hit creases, and Hubbard's better in the open field.
Bryce Young, not going to make it as a starter. Feel it or fuck it.
Fuck that. I just think that right now, he's up and down, and his roster's up and down. They don't have a primary receiver. And no apologies to Tetara McMillan. He's a nice number 2 who's posing as a number 1, who's disguised, who some people don't know the difference because they don't understand he's not running primary receiver level routes. They're working him open. This offense is not a great offense in terms of scheme. There's a lot of pressure that's being thrown at Young and a lot of missed blocks. And so you look at this, the fact that Young looked like shit on a stick basically for the first half and then came out and really made some impressive throws and impressive plays later. Resiliency is having resilience is a big deal, and he has that. He's got grit, even if Aiden Hutchinson might make a big deal out of that word. Bryce Young has some of that.
He has some of that. He doesn't have the bricks in his britches to help execute some of it, right? Like when he was trying to run in the goal line, who was it? Somebody grabbed him and just basically one arm, just a total stop and throw back. And that to me, like, I not every quarterback has to be physically opposing, but he does not bring.
Jared Goff isn't. Right. Yeah, same thing.
Right. So, but I do think we've seen him improve, right? He's improved notably, and I think when you see him doing the things he does good, he looks really good doing them, right? Like and a lot of the things that they talked about when he was drafted, all the processing and the decision making, we've seen signs of that, and he just needs to get it better. It needs to be more consistent with it, as you said. I think that's fair. I hope he gets a chance. Don't know that he will. We'll see. Carolina, we'll see if Dave Tepper can continue. He's kind of been a little hands-off, kind of step back from things. We'll see if he can continue to step back and let things.
Hugo found him and pinned him to a wall.
Darren Waller found us all. We're in love again. He's back. Feel it or fuck it.
I feel it, but Mike McDaniel, I don't know. He didn't, not a single fucking target in the second half. All of that production last week came in the first half of the game. He looked backside slants, seam routes, out routes. Did a really nice job, working at a variety of levels of the field, and then they didn't target his ass once in the second half of that game, which I just found to be pretty incredible.
This might still be, though, a little bit more of a slow burn than we like. We're getting the highlights. We got the highlight plays. The scoring plays are great, but he did double his snaps. He went from 16 in week 1 to 32 this week. And maybe he can build on that, right?
And that was the plan, and he said he was going to have double the snaps and double the workload. So they were very structured about that and decided. But he was out there in the second half. They just didn't. Tua just didn't target him.
I keep telling myself a pleasant fiction or not. Maybe it's true. That Mike McDaniel had that piece last year that was a difference maker, that he was able to create mismatches with in Jonnu Smith, and that he sees that even though they're not the same player and there are different ways to create mismatches, I'm hoping he figures that out with Darren Waller. Or maybe
I blew all my waiver wire wad in one league to get him. 1.5
I don't
PPR.
know if you can play more than a month at a time, but
I went for it because my team's on life support in that league.
I hope nobody put a lot of money on Malik Washington.
Right.
Matt, we didn't see the expanded role in this one. In fact, we saw Nick Westbrook-Ikhine kind of move into the Tyreek Hill role, and Malik Washington keep the role he had before. Is this going to be how it is going forward? Feel it or fuck it?
Fuck it is. Yes, it is. Fuck
Sorry.
Mike. Yeah, I'm hating it. And it sucks because it's kind of like really the expanded role seemed to go to Devon Achane in terms of going downfield, and then, of course, Darren Waller. So you've got Jalen Waddle is your guy. Darren Waddle is your co-primary or secondary. And then it's like split between Ikhine and Achane and Washington three ways. But Washington, your offense is predictable when every throw to Washington was basically stopped at near or at the line of scrimmage. Right. They did this like 4 times, and I'm just literally like, this is the most predictable shit ever. And it's not that Washington can't do more, but it's like Mike McDaniel is very conservative about young players.
He seems like more of a guy that you could create the kind of mismatches you did with Jonnu Smith than Darren Waller. You can create different mismatches with Darren Waller, obviously the physically imposing guy, but the speed and that run after the catch ability that made Jonnu Smith dangerous, it seems like Malik Washington shares those traits and could be better utilized.
Imagine a faster Khalil Shakir who can go up and win the ball as well. I mean, it was bizarre to me that they were continuing to do that, but hey, that's just how it goes sometimes. And again, Miami's game plan for the run game was like, oh, don't worry about it. Around 200 yards, he'll just get cramps and run himself tired. So we just have to be patient and let him just run all that distance,
We'll see how it goes. Dillon Gabriel is the answer in Cleveland. Feel it or fuck.
Oh, fuck that. But he didn't have a bad game. He had a pretty good game overall. There was a route miscommunication, it looked like, whether it was supposed to be an out or a sail or a corner route to Isaiah Bond. So rookie and rookie weren't quite on the same page on a key third down or it was either a second or third down late in the game that Gabriel threw it as more of a sail route, and Bond ran it more as an out, and you could see Gabriel standing there looking at Bond in disbelief as they then had to punt the ball, and then Carson Wentz drove the field, and they won the game.
Yeah, it was an interesting performance. Man, the Browns they get some pieces, and they're really good pieces. Like Myles Garrett, always going to be great. Quinshon Judkins looks like a great call. They just can't get the most important position right, it seems.
41 starters since 1999.
I saw Joe Thomas on the NFL Network coverage. He played with 20 of those guys. 20 of them.
Well, yeah. I mean, no wonder he retired. I mean, fuck. Yeah, Tom Brady, he'd still probably been playing.
There you go. One last one here. Kendrick Bourne, going back to last Thursday, is the answer in San Francisco's passing game, field or fuck it?
Well, as long as Mac Jones is out there, yes, I think he is the answer.
Mac Jones might be another week.
And so it's very possible. And one of the things that I thought was fascinating is that, the Shanahans are very good as coaches at calling basically the same basic play until you prove you can stop it. And Kyle just added a little more sauce to it because at the end of the game, they threw basically some variation of a slant to Bourne on 3 targets in the final drive, and they were just from different alignments, but it was, I just laughed because I was like, oh, here's another slant coming, let's put this window dressing on it. All right, let's try this a little, let's serve it on this dish, we're going to put this hat on it. It's the same thing.
They put all that cheese on the Christian McCaffrey cracker, and I'm perfectly fine with it. I don't care what else happens. I thought Bourne looked great in this game. We'll see. Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall both should be back this week, and that'll probably limit his role. But he may still well have a role. I mean, I think he deserves to be in that 3-man rotation anyway, at least as long as Brandon Ayuk's out, and there's no sign that he will be back anytime soon. Still many weeks away, according to the latest reporting. And could be Mac Jones again this week. Sounds like we might need a week or two for Purdy to get healed. And then do we have a quarterback controversy in San Francisco, Matt? Feel it or fuck it?
Oh, fuck it. The cheese has slipped off somebody's cracker that they think that's going on. Yeah. I know that it's that Jones is
Mac
good.
Jones is making himself a lot of money, just like Sam Darnold as San Francisco's backup.
We asked that, I think, last week, and I think the answer was I'm not quite sure yet. And I'd say,
are you more sure now?
No. Still
someone's going to pay him a bunch of money. You know it. I know it. The American people know it.
It might. But then again, they like big arms and they cannot lie. And I don't think this is that guy for that. So we'll see.
All right. Well, we cannot lie. We've been feeling and fucking things now for quite some time this morning. I think we'll cease at this moment. Appreciate everyone dialing this up every week. Appreciate all the feedback.
Kyler Murray has thrown a cease and desist order probably our way.
He's too busy playing Call of Duty.
Right, yeah, that's true.
Love you, Matt. Goodbye.
Love you. Bye.